Hello, everybody.
Hey,
Hey, Justin.
hey Ryan.
All right, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good.
Good.
So, if I had someone come to me and say, "Hey, I got some money issues. I'm in debt. Can you give me some advice?" One of my first thoughts would be the big three. I would want to talk about housing. Um, how much are you paying for rent? Is there any way we can lower that rent? Can you move somewhere else to lower the rent? How much is your mortgage? Can you sell it and get a house for less? So the big cost of housing would be something I
hmm
talk about right off the bat.
hmm
The second thing would be food. We would break down like, okay, how much are you truly spending on food every week, every month? How often are you going out? How often are you going out drinking coffee or alcohol? Can you cut that back? So those are two of the big three that people maybe spend a lot of money on that they could cut back on if they wanted to get out of debt or free up more money to invest and save for their future.
hmm
The third big one is obviously transportation. Transportation, where a lot of people like to have a nice car, understand that, are willing to get big loans, don't understand that.
Don't understand that.
Unless they have a lot of extra money, then I say go for it. If you have a good income and you are not in debt and are meeting your financial goals as far as saving, investing,
Yep.
and you feel like spending $800 a month on a car payment or a truck payment, a vehicle, then I say go for it. That's your personal business. That's your personal money.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think if you're in a good position,
Right.
debt free, you're doing what you need to get yourself even retired. Maybe it's even retiring early. Then it doesn't matter, right? You've got a little extra money left over. Then okay, yes, you can afford that car.
Exactly. I was talking to a lady recently. We had coffee, and she drove up in a beautiful SUV, probably worth $100,000.
Well,
And I know her, and I know she could afford more. So a lot of us, we look at it both ways. We look at a car and say, "There's no way they can afford that. They're probably in debt." Well,
hmm
some people can afford really nice cars.
yeah,
They got everything taken care of. So be careful to do that. We all do that, though.
yeah,
Conversely, you see an old junker driving around the road, and you might be like, "Whoa, that person's living paycheck to paycheck and probably doesn't have a good job." Be careful with that too,
yeah.
because that person might be the next door millionaire, for example,
Right, right.
referencing that
Yep, the
fantastic book.
book.
Think about why you have your car or truck if you have one. Why do you have it? What went into that thought process?
hmm
Just really pause it for a second if you want and say, why did I buy this car? Why did I buy this vehicle?
Yeah,
Justin's going to talk about his philosophy that works for him, might not work for everybody. That's not what we're trying to do here.
right.
But it's something to think about. It gives you kind of something to consider. So Justin, the big question is why do you how do you go about buying cars and what's your thought process with that?
The number one thing that I'm looking for in a car is kind of budget, right? I don't want to blow the bank. I've bought several cars over my last 20 years, and they all have like a purpose. I had a Nissan, a Honda, and a Toyota. And when I look at it, I'm looking for gas mileage because I've got to drive from Loveland to Longmont every day for work. So I want good gas mileage. The next one that I'm looking at um, is it going to be easy to repair? Because most of the time I'm going to be doing the repairs. Next up, is it cheap to repair, right? Because sometimes you have to get premium gas in your car, and that's a cost, right? Sometimes you have to get special oil, or you have to take it to the dealership or mechanic to get your oil replaced. So these things add up over time. So I'm looking at gas mileage and repairability, and then what's it going to cost me in insurance, right? If I'm getting like a brand new 2024 car, that insurance is going to be a little bit more pricey than if I get a 2005 car, right? So insurance. So those are kind of the big three that I'm looking at when I go and for cars.
I love it. There are kind of like hidden costs to a vehicle,
Yeah,
and insurance isn't oftentimes thought about.
right.
Full coverage is a lot more than liability.
Yep.
So if you have like you were saying, a brand new car, you're paying a lot more than someone that has a car that only needs liability.
Right.
So there's a lot of different hidden costs. Maybe specialty tires for certain cars that cost a lot more.
Yeah.
Trucks need bigger tires, so they cost a lot more money. All
Right.
right. So I love it. So you really want a car that's like a Toyota, Honda, Nissan,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of them and they're cheaper to fix.
Yeah.
And you can get a good price. They're reliable. They're going to last
Yep.
for a while.
I've had my car for a while now. I don't even over 10 years. And once again, I bought it because needed something that was better on gas,
Yeah.
and I needed something that I could do stuff with. So I have a 2005 Toyota Matrix.
Nice.
That's my car.
And it works for you.
It is great. I like it.
And
a
that
lot.
wouldn't work for me. And I'll explain why. This is my bad boy right here.
That's right.
It's not for sale, so don't try to get on the phone or like, hey, I want to buy this thing. This baby's not for sale. This is my 2001 Toyota Tundra with 292,000 miles.
Nice.
And I love this thing. I've had it for about 12, 13 years. I bought it used for about $11,000. And I love this truck because I love the mountains and I love to go hiking, hunting, camping, fishing. And there's some times when I'm doing this, I'll sleep right in the back with that topper there, keeping the mosquitoes and the weather on. So this is why I have this old beat up truck. It's very reliable. And I know it's beautiful, obviously.
It's beautiful.
When I bought it, it was already rusted here. And it's obviously the paint's coming. This little dent that might not be showing up on the screen, this is when I was backing up to shovel the driveway, and it went right into my neighbor's basketball hoop.
Oh, no.
That was a bummer. That was about 6 years ago. So that's not from like hitting a tree in the mountains or anything. So obviously it's not a beautiful looking vehicle, but it drives so well. And for what I want and what I need, going to the mountains a lot, that's why I have it. I will say though, when I was teaching, it took 1 gallon of gas to get to work and 1 gallon to get back. 17 miles a gallon. If I would have bought a car that got 34, I would have saved a lot of money. So I was paying more.
That's where I'm at. I've got a car that gets about 34 miles per gallon. And so I can make it to and from work.
Yeah.
On that same
And that
gallon.
saves money. So really, if you're driving a lot, you definitely should consider that.
I do have to say, I'm a little bit shorter than Ryan. Okay, I'm a bit shorter.
No.
But I can still camp in the back of my car too.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I can.
No, yeah, that's a great point.
And
you don't need a truck. I love that.
So.
Yeah, you can be creative. I like that. I will say that, so my mindset about this old truck is I don't have car payments. I haven't for years.
Yep.
So I don't pay $600 a month, obviously.
Yeah.
But my mindset is if this thing has some things break down this year and it costs like, let's say $1,000, then in my mindset is I'd have 2 payments of $500 this year. So I did have 2 payments. So I'm already mentally and emotionally ready because I know it's an older truck for it to break down occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
It's been towed a few times, but I'm fine with that trade-off of having an older truck and having to put some money into it occasionally.
Nice.
So, and this works for me. This won't work for everybody, but this is why I do it. I use this for a lot of fun things in the mountains.
I like it.
Any other thoughts about vehicles?
Do you consider, when you're looking at cars, you mentioned 11,000, so there's a price point.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at cars, you have a price point, and then are there certain cars that you're looking for?
I'm with you. Like Toyota, Honda are the top 2 for me.
Okay.
Like, that's pretty much what me and my wife have owned over the years.
Mm-hmm.
We've varied a little bit here and there. I had a Ford Explorer for a while in my past. But I like the safe, reliable, easy to fix, just get the job done, point A to point B. I don't need anything fancy personally.
Okay. And then your price point.
Yeah.
What do you think could be considered a reasonable price point?
Right. This is a good question because
I know it's personal and
it
it's
is
subjective.
Personal. And I think like if you have $10,000, you can get a safe, reliable car. Justin's going to have a different opinion. That's great. And that's why it's just subjective. So my point of bringing this up, if you say it's $10,000 for example, and you want to spend $20,000 because you like this car and it costs $20,000, you're using $10,000 of your fund money, your extra money because you're out of debt and you're taking care of your investments.
Right.
And if you're fine with that, get a $20,000 car or a $30,000 car, whatever.
If you can afford it. If it's not taking from the necessities.
Exactly. If you're taking care of the other things, your other business, spend whatever amount you want. For me, I'd rather have this. And spend my money on other things. So what's your price that you think a safe, reliable car is? Because we differ on
So
this.
I've actually never bought an over $5,000, but 5,000 has usually been my budget for looking at cars. But I think it's one of those things that was what I could afford, right? I without messing up my budget too much. $5,000 was what I could afford, and I could still find very nice, reasonable cars. And if you're finding cars that low gas or low mileage, and it's an older car, usually that's just like not driven.
Yeah,
Right? If I'm finding like a 1999 or a 2000 car with 100,000 miles, it's just not being driven.
true.
So
No, I love it. And I try to buy a car if you're trying to save money and get out of debt, for example. Or as, to your point, if you can find a $5,000 car or a $3,000 car that's been taken care of, go for it.
yeah,
That's great. You can decide in your mind, like, what's the minimum amount that you feel comfortable with. It's definitely subjective.
yeah,
It would be fun to do this. I've thought about doing this, but I haven't done it. Like you were talking about all the different cars you've had over your life. It'd be fun to add them all up if you've and see how much you've actually spent over 30 years.
mm-hmm.
Because when I sell this, if I ever do,
Oh,
let's say I sold it for $4,000. Well, I bought it for 11, sold it for 4, but I also had to put money in to fix it.
mm-hmm.
The non-typical stuff. Obviously, you always need new tires, new windshield is kind of, but if a radiator, for example, went out on this, that's kind of not typical.
Yeah,
So when you buy something, 11,000, and let's say I sold it for 4, I paid 7 for it, plus anything I added on because of it broke down. That's kind of a way to look at how much a car actually costs.
right.
Not just what you pay for it, but
Yeah.
because some people will buy a $40,000 car, they'll keep it for 3 years and sell it for 20,000, and then go get another one. Well, that cost you a lot of money over 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. That's
It's
I
not even
I
the
couldn't
40.
do that.
Some people buy a $40,000 car and keep it for 15 years,
Right.
and that's a lot smarter, in my opinion,
Yeah,
because you've gotten many years out of that $40,000 car.
yeah.
So you have to think a little bit deeply about transportation and why you're making decisions about cars and trucks.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're meeting your goals. And if
Yep.
you're not, this is a great place to look at making some possible changes.
Yep.
So, any
Perfect.
last words for the
It's good
audience?
advice. That's good advice. Just double check your expenses, and this is one of those big top 3.
It is. And if this ever comes for sale, we'll do a podcast and I'll officially let you know that, yeah, this thing is for sale, but not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.